Something new is a stasis handcannon obtained from the Solstice event during the Season of the Haunted. It comes with some never before seen perk combinations to its slot, and some of them are pretty game changing. It's easy to get and one of the best primaries for build crafting in both PvE and PvP. Now that Dreamwork is fixed, we can review the weapon properly. Look at it for its strong perk pool instead of using it to one-face Keitel. This video will cover its stats and perk pool, weapon behavior, obtainability, recommended rolls, and overall performance in both PvE and PvP activities. By the end of this, hopefully you'll have just a little more information to work with when making your next build. Let's break this down. At base, Something New has 58 range, 27 stability, 24 handling, 25 reload speed, 8 magazine size, but only 7 rounds in game, 60 aim assistance, 23 airborne effectiveness, 14 zoom, and 98 recoil direction. It is a 120 rounds per minute aggressive frame with a base damage falloff of 34.68 meters. In PvP, it deals 80 crit and 50 body, needing 2 crits and 1 body to kill with a time to kill of 1 second. In PvE, it deals 56-60 crit and 35-42 body against Carl. Most of these stats are fairly standard. The aim assist is a little below average, the 98 base recoil direction is pretty great, and the 27 stability is a good bit higher than the archetype average of 22, although stability remains a poor stat for 120 handcannons overall. As for the perks, Something New shares an origin trait with Compass Rose called Dreamwork. It states that once per reload, assists and assisted final blows will overflow the magazine. This trait affects the weapon a lot. In solo content, you're reloading all the time with only 7 rounds in the magazine. In team content, those 7 rounds sometimes turn into 10 or 15, sometimes more, and you don't reload at all for long periods of time. In the first column, it gets barrel perks instead of sights. This means that it can increase its range without penalties, but it also loses the strong stability and handling buffs handcannon sights give, alongside the +5 aim assist. In column 2, there are the usual magazine perks. Accuratizer rounds isn't available, but ricochet rounds is present instead, a strong stat booster and a rare perk for 120s. The last 2 columns have a few very good picks for certain builds. Column 3 has Feeding Frenzy, Wellspring, Stats for All, Triple Tap, Ensemble, and Tunnel Vision. 4 has Headstone, Demolitionist, Harmony, Multi-Kill Clip, Well-Rounded, and Thresh. There are some very special perk combinations here, and those will be covered later. But keep in mind that this weapon is good at very specific things. It doesn't have many of the common general use perks available, and that's not really what it's meant for. If you just drop it into your build, it can stand on its own, but it really shines when you plan your loadout with it in mind. Now that Dreamwork is fixed, there isn't really anything unique to note about Something New other than their perk pool. It is a very standard 120 handcannon. High range, high damage, low stability, handling, magazine size, and reload speed. The TTK in PvP is slow, but it doesn't require perfection to reach it. It doesn't have any quirks, and it's a better Devil's Descendant, which means that it has a clean sight picture with a great sound. There aren't any issues with reticle movement or muzzle flash, and the lower than average aim assist compared to other kinetic 120s didn't have a noticeable difference. The higher than average stability is nice, but also not major. In PvE, it's very satisfying in activities where red bars die to 1 crit. In activities with tougher enemies, the low magazine and slow reload interrupts combat pretty often, but its strong perks make it very worth using. In PvP, it functions like most 120s do. Very strong burst damage from a good distance away, good dueling when cover is applied but lacking up close due to the low stability and handling. Team shooting often activates Dreamwork, and that helps preserve a little momentum after winning teamfights because it overflows the magazine. In PvP, it's a bit of a savant's weapon. The perks make it very good for specific builds, but it's a bit lacking for general use. So, not my cup of tea, but I enjoyed my time with it nonetheless. The obtainability of Something New is pretty great. At the end of the Bonfire Bash activity, some legendary engrams will drop. Those have a chance of containing Something New and Compass Rose. In my experience, that usually amounts to 1 or 2 weapon drops per run, and sometimes they were both the handcannon. There are also only 6 perks per column for the last 2 columns, meaning that the chances of getting the desired combination is fairly high. From my light armor grind, I have already gotten dozens of them to drop. A lot of them have my desired perk combinations like Wellspring Demolitionist and Wellspring Headstone, as well as a few harmony rolls. It's an easy to farm weapon with some great perks, so go pick up a few. As for any weapon in Destiny 2, every perk has its own use case, so use the rolls that work with yours. I will be pointing out the roles I feel are strong in my use cases, but these are merely recommendations. For PvE, my recommendation is Fluted Barrel or Corkscrew Rifling in column 1, although any barrel without stat penalties will be alright. In the second column, take Flared Magwell or any mag or reload boosting perk. The base reload is pretty slow and anything helps. Armor Piercing Rounds also has a niche use with dealing increased damage to shields, but the increase is only 5%. For the last two columns, my main pick is Wellspring with Demolitionist or Headstone. Get one of each. Wellspring gives you 8% ability energy on kills spread across any uncharged abilities. Demolitionist gives you 10% grenade energy on primary kills, and using a grenade reloads the weapon. For grenade focused builds, that's potentially 18% grenade energy with each kill, and you can use grenade reloads. With decent discipline, that's usually 4 to 5 kills before you get your grenade back. This is the only kinetic primary to roll Wellspring Demolitionist. In the energy slot, there is the Ogma PR6. That is a world drop solar 450 RPM lightweight pulse rifle. These are the only two primary options, and they're both very strong. For stasis builds, this is one of the best primaries currently available. A lot of weapons are good for ability recharge. A lot of weapons are good for ad clear. Very few are this good at both at the same time. Headstone spawns a stasis crystal on precision kills. Red bars spawn a medium-sized one, and everything else spawns a large crystal. This is currently the only weapon to get Wellspring Headstone. With it, you get great ability uptime and constant stasis crystals. You can build for shatter damage, stasis shards, grenade recharge. You can build for any strength of the stasis subclass. For stasis fragments, I ran rending, fissures, and shards. A precision kill and a single shot would clear half a room. Great ability regen too. When solo, the reload speed was a bit slow, but this is improved along with handcannon loader and good magazine perks, alongside a reload masterwork. Wellspring Demolitionist gave a pretty absurd amount of grenade energy. I could usually have a few up in every fight, and this is great for activities with a mix of weaker and tougher enemies like lost sectors, some raid sections, basically anywhere you go where you need grenades. All weapon performance testing has been done on mouse and keyboard and without the use of weapon boosting exotics such as Ophidian Aspects or Lucky Pants. For the Crucible, I recommend building for the team shooting aspect or for Harmony. If you're looking for a dueling role, look elsewhere. True Prophecy and Loud Lullaby both have better perk options. For the first column, Fluted Barrel, Corkscrew Rifling, and Small Bore are all good choices. Those are the options with the biggest stat boosts, but any barrel that boosts the stat you want without penalties works fine. Column 2 has Ricochet rounds, and that's my go-to pick. It's the best stat booster available, and stability is a great stat right now. High caliber rounds is decent also, and Flared Magwell can help with the long reload, but the stat boost from Ricochet rounds I think is way too valuable. In the third and fourth columns, the PvE pairs can still work for ability-focused builds. Wellspring Demolitionist has its place in the Crucible, but there are also some unique pairings that might be worth your time. There aren't any neutral perks like Snapshot Sights or Rapid Hit in here. That's not what the weapon is for, and other 120s do better. Because of dream work, I don't recommend Tunnel Vision and Multi-Kill Clip at all. Team shooting happens all the time in PvP, 120s are especially good at that, and when that happens, it will overflow the magazine, and you won't be able to reload. Those perks are basically dead in the water, so pick up a Loud Lullaby instead, and that weapon comes with regular kill clip. What I do recommend is Triple Tap or Ensemble in column 3, Headstone or Harmony in column 4. Triple Tap generates a round after 3 precision hits. This can help extend the magazine. It gives you some breathing room with the base 7 rounds, and it also makes an overflowed magazine last longer. Ensemble grants 30 handling and 40 reload speed when within 15 meters of an ally. This is a good perk for team play, the handling boost is very noticeable. Headstone has a niche use outside of stasis builds. In revive-enabled game modes like Trials, getting a precision kill denies the revive. The stasis crystal physically blocks the ghost. The crystal needs to be broken for that revive to be possible, and while it's up, you can use it for cover, or wait for the right moment to break it for damage. It's got great potential there. Harmony grants a 20% damage boost and 15 handling for 7 seconds when you get a kill with a different weapon. Something new is the first 120 to get it, and it brings the crit damage to 96, enough to 2-tap tier 5 resilience or below by itself. This pairs great with a sniper rifle, Lord of Wolves, or even a different weapon with Harmony as well. Those rolls are very strong if you build for them, though it's not what I usually go for, since I like neutral perks for dueling weapons and this isn't that. I had one with small bore and ricochet rounds, and that stability was really nice. That's certainly a strength, but kinetic 120s aren't strong stat-wise. This isn't the Borealis of 120s no matter what the roll is, and if you wanted a 120 purely for stats, Sturm is probably the way to go. But just because it's not what I want out of a 120 doesn't mean it'll be bad for you. Try these rolls out. It might be what you're looking for, it might not be, it all changes from person to person. Something New is a great weapon with some very unique perk options. It fits in amazingly in some builds and it gets outclassed in others. It's worth picking up a few even if you just vault them to save for later because some of those perk pairings are best in slot. Whatever your desired role, it's pretty easy to get. There are 6 perks per column in the last 2 columns and it drops pretty often from Bonfire Bash. Get a few of them, it'll likely be worth it. If you've enjoyed this video, feel free to drop a like. Subscribe and ring the bell if you want more. Comment below what other weapons you would like to see or any changes you want to suggest for the videos in general. Thank you and take care.